Okay, welcome to the open channel group. Today we are going to channel our remembering, and we are going to be working on kind of closing out this year as far as like what it actually means. I know some of you are struggling with that wound of time, and I'm not helping because I'm like, you know, but what I'm saying to you guys is that we are playing a game that you have already completed, which means that when you came in, you came in with your full puzzle already intact. Like the end was already completed. You already have finished the end of this. You already have completed it. Okay? And that is one clue that I really want you guys to hold on to today in class is that you are not here to build anything. Manifestation is actually counterfeit light. You are here to remember. And the manifestation process, that you could call it, is basically dissolving all of the lies and the belief systems that keep you under amnesia. Okay. Like I keep telling you guys in your private sessions, all that's left is let go. All that's left is let go. It's already done. Imagine you're on a train, you already paid to be there, and now you are just you are on the journey. Okay. And you don't question that you're going to arrive. You're just now like relaxing and and yes, being on a train for maybe hours or days could feel like you're in a very confined space where you're like, what do I do? I'm not at home. I don't know what to do. But just know that you are on the train and you are on the track. So when I say that you were actually you designed this game to be done by the end of this year, I want you to take a minute. If you're in these classes, you actually had a set point to be done. And I don't mean complete like, you're already ready to like play another game. No, you're ready here to start your heaven on earth game. You're ready to rendezvous with that new you, those new people, places, and things. Remember the playground, the players, like you were set to rendezvous at the end of this year. Now, if you are not creating that for yourself, that means that your plane is delayed. That means that your train is delayed. That means your train got stopped for, repairs. Okay? We've all experienced that. And if you are experiencing it, it is because you are in the way. You are in the way of your own finished game. No one else. So I want to ask you guys right now, because maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I posted something on probably every social media I had, and it is the quantum leap of the chrysalis, which is the dissolution of the caterpillar into the butterfly. Okay. I think I posted it in the Decode the Mirror class this morning, but I will post it in you guys' little group messenger chat as well, just so you can kind of see like how it works. That in order for the caterpillar to become the butterfly, literally, the cells have to imagine themselves as a butterfly. Like it's a very quantum experience. And I want you to ask yourself, like, this will tell you exactly where your train is right now. Okay. Do you identify right now more as the caterpillar or the butterfly in your physical reality? Do you feel heavy and lethargic and overconsumed and overwhelmed and like stuck and blocked? Okay. Or do you feel like just absolute goo? Do you feel like goo? Like I'm not this or that. I'm just the goo. Okay? Or have you been allowing the goo, which means no self-judgment for no motivation, no self-judgment for not wanting to work, no self-judgment for letting certain things, obligations go and allowing curiosity to overtake you? Then you are probably like starting to feel a little better. Maybe not all of you yet, but you're starting to get the winks from the universe. You're starting to see things take form. You're starting to remember, which means that when things are kind of rendezvousing in your reality, it's more like a memory than it is brand new. That's how you're going to be able to gauge where you are. Now, if you are still feeling like the caterpillar, you are resisting this. Take a breath. Okay? Now, that is not a judgment. It is just a GPS. You, okay. You are resisting this. No one else. Because you are the writer director and it's already done. Okay? Your entire life experience was the game of Christ Sophia. Now, let me break that down a little bit just so you guys can get like this understanding of the difference between the two. And we're studying a lot of this. We're not studying. We're remembering a lot of this in Decode the Mirror. I'm showing you guys how the chess game is played over there, which means the absence of light and the light game working to build your epic heaven on earth. Okay? Because coming from heaven right into heaven, boring. So you wanted to come from heaven into absolute hell and descend, not to rebuild, but to remember your heaven on earth through a feeling state, which is the Sophia energy, that would allow you to surrender and let go so that your story could now play itself out. Okay, you've already written it, you've already directed it, you've already edited it. Your job now is to sit back. But some of you don't like where you are in your particular movie. And so you keep going up to the mirror and trying to change that scene when that scene won't make sense until you get over here. Like this scene that you might be in right now may actually feel like it's so counterintuitive and it's taking you so far away from the end, and it's actually a shortcut. And I only know that because like the big picture that is unfolding for me right now is like, oh my gosh, now I know why this had to happen and this had to happen. And now it's like this epic love story that's unfolding where before it felt like a horror movie for a long time. And so I can completely identify where anyone is on any of those three levels of anchoring your own divinity back in. So what does the Christ energy represent? It represents the flame, the eternal love of your heart, which means nothing you have been through has stopped you loving. That's the Christ in you. Okay, that's your Christed energy. The fact that you've had nothing to give and you've been generous. The fact that you've healed while you were sick, others. That is the Christ in you. It has always been there and it will always be there. It is the flame in you. Okay, now what is the Sophia? The Sophia is the spark. It's the lost sheep of the flame that got curious and got herself into a little bit of trouble down in density, yet it's perfect because without that Sophia spark of curiosity, that spark of creativity, you won't finish the game. So let's imagine that the spark is down in the root chakra going, help, help, I'm in hell, in the root, in absolute hell. But there's a spark. There's a creativity. There's a curiosity deep. Now, the curiosity has probably gotten you in a shit ton of trouble over your life, but it's also going to be the very thing that completes the game for you because that is the feminine curiosity and the ability to feel through the illusion, which means that without the Sophia energy, you would not be able to feel your interior mirror. You would just see this mirror and go, this is all that is without the Sophia energy. Sophia is the eternal spark of the all, but not separate. Remember, it's like if Christ represents the whole ocean of source, like eternal love forever and ever and ever, then Sophia is the ocean water in the cup. But there's no difference, except she's been stuck in this cup, feeling separate, feeling like the lost sheep. Okay? This is why that Christ leaves the 99 for the one. And the one is Sophia, who has basically come back in every single scripture as Isis or Magdalene energy, because it's constantly been in the storyline, yet it's been downplayed. So you wouldn't have the whole truth. Now, those of you in Decode the Mirror are getting like way deeper in this, but those of you guys who are just channeling this, where you guys want to take this channeled information is nothing more than where I am in coherency to where my heart is, which means my home is where the heart is. Feel that for a minute. Stop looking at your present reality if it's not your heart. Your home is where your heart is. Feel that. Relief. Remember, the Christ in you is eternal. So what Christ and Sophia are going to do is merge. It's like, help, help, help from the depths of your own despair, your own root. The Christ in you is going to ignite her, remind her, so she can travel up and together create the second son, the Son of Man, the solar plexus, which is the new child that will be your new avatar. The combination, the marriage of the Christ Sophia energy within you, the one that loves and the one that feels. Feel that. Together, they are going to make the new you. And the new you is going to know what action to take. It's going to know what to say. It's going to be the byproduct of this beautiful love affair that is in all of the Gnostic teachings. Even though it's still cryptic because it's designed for you to have ears to hear and the eyes to see. So those who are not ready to fully do this process of remembering. Now, what I want to do is show you guys the 7 obstacles today of remembering. Okay, like I'm telling you, the more I integrate to the end, the easier this gets. So we do not need to overcomplicate this. Let's simplify this game and realize that the Christed energy has always been there. But did you have love for yourself? Okay, that's where Sophia comes in. Because the story of the Sophia energy, although divine feminine and the spark, has carried the mother guilt on a major level. Any mother guilt you have, whether you're a father or mother, any guilt of feeling towards any parental, whether it's been students or children or animals, that is your Sophia energy. Breathe that in. Gina even named her daughter Sophia. I think Donna has a grandbaby, right, Sophia? You see, it's like it's in the water. Are remembering? That is the Sophia spark. What Christ's job is to remind her she is worthy. How many times have you guys reminded people out in the world that they are worthy when they have told you hideous things? You're worthy. God loves you. And yet you got mommy guilt and I'm the worst person in the world. That means that your Christ Sophia have not fallen in love. And as soon as you do, you are going to start remembering that it has nothing to do with the house of your dreams or the money. It is this divine union, artist and architect. Because Christ holds the flame of source, eternal. Sophia holds the spark of eternal life that fell down into density and forgot. So the part of you, whether you're a man or woman, that has forgotten your own divinity, forgotten your own source, is your Sophia consciousness. But the love in you that keeps showing up week after week, right? Somehow not giving up even when nothing looks good, that is the Christ in you. So you have both parts. You have the guilty and you have the Savior, which will birth the new child, the child of the sun, the bringers of the dawn, the seven rays of creation. It's all here in whatever spiritual text has been obliterated. It all comes down to one truth, and this is how it works. It's a beautiful love affair of the union of you. And you've had all parts the whole time. And there's no place like home. Sophia wants to go home. Christ is the memory of home. Okay, now that's the backstory. Now, how do you get on that train and freaking let go of control? So you can just enjoy this ride. Well, there's going to be 7 layers. And I want you to just take a moment and think to yourself, honestly, don't bullshit yourself here because it's just a waste of time. Do you feel like still the caterpillar, which means you're still consuming, you're still seeking, you're still hoarding, okay? It's not enough. And you feel very weighted down, you feel very heavy, you feel very stuck, you feel very blocked. You don't feel like anything's happening because you're still kind of living your old life. That's caterpillar. Don't judge it if you are, because as of today, you could let go and go into the goo. Okay? And the goo, if I would have just let go, it would have gone so much faster. Because I will tell you, when you start gooing, you are going to try everything in your egoic universe to try to stop this process from happening. Because it literally feels like you are going to lose everything you love. It feels like there is no way in hell you're going to be able to manifest this dream. There feels like there's no opportunity for you. It feels like there's no one to help you when you go into this chrysalis. Okay, which is a very quantum death process of not you're not creating in the third dimension. You're leaving. You're going home. And when you get home, everything that has literally been aching your heart your whole life will be there. What if I told you that every time you've seen something that triggered envy, comparison, or desire was never desire, it was a memory? Feel that. Put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and feel that with me. What if everything I've ever saw that hurt me that I don't have is never a desire, it was a memory? Feel that with me. It was always mine. Just like Dorothy. She didn't lose home. She just didn't remember. And do you guys know one of the greatest ways to trigger your nervous system into alignment is clicking your heels together? There's no place like home. Put your red shoes on. All you have to do is feel your way home. Which you know, there's like this weird knowing in your heart what home feels like, and you don't know why. Because you probably felt homesick almost everywhere you've ever been. Even now, you might be exactly where you're supposed to be physically, but you still might feel that essence of homesickness because you haven't completed your process. Okay? You might have already gotten the dream house or gotten the dream person, but there's still a part of you that hasn't been fully integrated into home. So I'm going to give you the 7 veils or 7 illusions that are going to try to stop you from remembering. And they go perfectly with the what, where, when, who, okay? Because again, they're the questions you have every day that stop you from getting on the train Or some of you are getting on the train and having an absolute panic attack and getting off the train. I know some of you are doing that right now because you're like, I can't let go of control. I have to drive the train or we're not going. I literally know some of you like that. If I can't drive it, and you don't even know where you're going. Okay. So let's go into it. All right. The first one is the illusion of separation, that I am separate from source. Some of you are still leading your life with that belief. If you are still looking for others to be your GPS, your guru, your guide, your intuition, this is one. And I guarantee you, if you're really stuck here, you have not let go yet. Because what are you going to let go to? You're not in the goo yet if this one is really solid for you. Even if you want to remember source, if there are more parts of you than not that are like, I don't feel connected to source, then you're not even going to let yourself goo. It's okay, own it, because I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. Number two, the lie, the belief, the illusion of scarcity. A lot of you have this. Or a lot of you didn't have this until you started going into the goo. And then you felt all the scarcity, which is fine. Okay. So if you're leading your motivation through scarcity, then you are not going to let anyone else drive that train because you're just going to lose more than you already lost. Why would you want to do that? Or some of you are living in such scarcity that you're trying to build your heaven on earth where you are because you got to use what you have because you've hoarded so much. Or you've invested so much that you're too anchored where you are. So you keep trying to build your heaven on earth where you are when like your train keeps, it's just like any train. It's going to keep showing up. All aboard. And you're like, no, I'm good. I'm building heaven on earth and hell here because you know what? I started this. I'm going to finish it. And the train, okay, I'll be back. Okay. Just how it is. I'll be back. No judgment. You know what time I'll be here when shit hits the fan. I'll be here. Yep. Next one is the veil, the lie, the belief of control. That you have any control over this small you. That small you that's trying to make things happen, that's running numbers, that's the control. The you that needs certain people in certain places in order to feel safe, control. That means I'm not letting nobody drive except me. And I don't know where the hell I'm going, so I guess I'm going nowhere. And I'm going to control and micromanage everyone around me and everything around me because otherwise I'm not safe. Own it. It's stopping your goo process. Okay? All right, the next one. The lie, the belief, the illusion of unworthiness. That you are unworthy of freedom, that you are unworthy of wealth, that you are unworthy of resources, that you are unworthy of arriving at what's already yours. And that is 100% a curse. And every time you look at someone who has something else than yours, it reconfirms that in your heart. And I will tell you, you're really going to feel this one when you go to the goo. Because you can't even really take care of yourself some days. Like there are days you cannot get out of bed. There are days that you cannot be a mom. There are days that you cannot be anything for anyone else and you literally would like to unalive yourself. Not in a serious way, but like, I don't want to be here. And that's actually a really good sign. Because if you don't want to be here anymore, you're saying, hell is not my home, which is wonderful. You are not going to physically unalive yourself, but your ego is saying, I don't want to be here. And that's the best day for the ego. When the ego says, I don't want to be here, hallelujah, praise Jesus. So we do not want to look at that part negatively because it's the part that's surrendering the control. So there are going to be so many horrific things that are going to happen in your movie in order for you to remember. And one of them is like forced loss of control. And what's crazy about it is this is all you want. All you want is to be guided. All you want is to be led. All you want is to get on that VIP train and drink the champagne and rest and read your freaking favorite book and just end up there, right? And literally, if we would just let go, okay? The next one is the illusion, the belief, and the wound of time. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of money before I run out of month. I'm stuck. I don't know where my space is. I don't know how to use my time properly. Well, imagine if you had to go from you know, like if you were going to do like a really long journey on a train, and let's say it's more than 48 hours, like after 48 hours, what are you going to do? Like, you've read the books, like what do you do? And it starts to feel like, what do I do? Because doing has kept you safe. But you're sitting in a train. Like, what are you going to eat more food? Like, what are you going to do? Okay. Some of you are eating more food. Fine. Who cares? Get the best food. Put your feet up. But then that triggers the Sophia guilt. I'm not doing enough. I'm not being the best mom. I'm not being the best wife. I'm not being a provider. I'm not being whatever your role was in the third dimension. I'm not being that. And your source is like, good, you're not supposed to be that. Not right now. When I started kind of looking at the end of my journey, like I have stage 4 cancer and I'm also giving birth. Like, how would I treat myself if I was going through both of those experiences? Would I be kinder to myself? Because, I, if I have stage 4 cancer and I'm literally dying, I'm going to be the best mom I can be, but I've got to put myself first. And I'm constantly being contracted and expanded, because if you're doing this correctly, you will have days of absolute contraction where literally the entire world is squeezing you. And without those days, you can't get open. Okay, we remember this from Kabbalah 1. The worst days are the best days. Because the contraction days where the bill shows up that you can't pay, or the person just attacks or triggers you, or somebody takes something away from you, that is your contraction day where you are literally going stir crazy. And I would say if you're feeling the contractions getting closer together, welcome to the goo. You are in the goo. If you are not having contractions every couple of days, then you're probably still in the consumption, the hungry caterpillar that eats and eats and eats and eats because it's like, I feel something's coming, but I don't know what. Okay? Then you're still in the caterpillar era. But if you are kind of like working on, I remember and I'm surrendering, then the contractions are going to really start coming. Okay? And time is going to be a very solid contraction for you because you don't have control. And this is where you have to develop true faith in your Christ. This is where Sophia has to trust Christ because she wants to do everything and she's so curious. She wants to know how it's all going to work. And Christ is like, just let go and follow me. Okay? The next one is the illusion of fear. Now, you're going to have fear about every one of these. But fear, my definition, I don't know if this is correct, but it works for me, is the anticipation of loss. Or fear could mean, I've already lost so much, I don't want to lose again. And I will tell you, when you are going to get on your train, you have failed. You have lost. Because that's your de-ascension. It's when you finally say, I have failed enough to let go. I do not know what's best for me. I am no longer seeking. I am no longer searching. I am remembering. That is when Sophia finally begins to trust Christ. And then the spark returns to the flame and becomes one. Okay. I know a couple of you guys were at my house, and like when we did this bonfire ritual, I was like, you could see the fire, but then all these little sparks. Okay. That's the Sophia that's like going everywhere, but it's coming from the flame. And so it has to remember where it came from. Okay. You are no longer having to be that cup of ocean water without the ocean. Right? If you could let go, you would remember that everything is an ebb and a flow. And this is going to help you with your time wound. It's also going to be like, oh, time is ticking. I'm on a deadline. No, that's a contraction. Then you could get excited because you know the closer the contractions get, okay, the closer you are to arrival. So the last one, and if you still have this fear, you have not gone into the goo yet. If there is any part of you that is afraid of death, any part of you that is afraid to die, you have not let go of caterpillar. Because every single one of you who've gone into the goo is like, I would rather die than be here. Like, bring it on. It sounds like a vacation. But if you are still terrified of dying, that is the caterpillar, aka ego leadership, that is sitting on your crown, that is in your own temple, that is managing your kingdom. When you begin this chrysalis process of the goo, okay, where you are literally just like, one day you might be okay, and the next day you are just at rock bottom, then you are going to begin to dissolve that caterpillar and become food for the butterfly, because this is an epigenetic process. I want you to feel that for a minute. What is epigenetics? It is I create my own environment based on my inner mirror, not the exterior mirror, and I am led by the feelings of my own interior mirror, not your epigenetics, which is your environment. You feel this? And that is when you design your own feeling-based GPS home. Your residence will create your residence. So whatever your home frequency is, okay, is what you're going to follow. And it will take you into this chrysalis process. And it is 100% part of your movie. Because the old you, controlling, unworthy, living in scarcity, using time as your warden, feeling separate from source, fear of death or fear of other people around you dying, and literally motivated by fear, cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And what that means is your body is the kingdom. And so if all of these 7 illusions are motivating your actions, your words, your desires, then you are living in the kingdom of hell within you. Does this make sense? Because I want this to be just very simplified and bring all of it together, right? Because this is my highest joy, is to decode all of this so we can celebrate it and be the gospel, which is the good news. And the good news is that all you're here to do is remember. Now, some of you don't know what it looks like. That's okay. You're not doing your 7 minutes in heaven. When I returned back to the 7 minutes of heaven, there it was. My 7 minutes of heaven looks like I have a 7-minute song. And I will play it 2 to 3 times a day because it feels like home to me. And in that 7 minutes, I can imagine what home looks like based on what it feels like. So actually, the way you're going to get home is Sophia. through the feeling state, not the thinking. This is why you can't go on Zillow to find your dream house unless Zillow finds you. Because first you're going to build it out of the feeling. Now you can get inspiration and you can remember through pictures and you can remember through people and you can remember through situations. But what is actually your home frequency is going to be what's in your heart that's always been there. And it has felt like longing. It has felt like an ache. It has felt like desire. And then if you mix those three things with any of these 7 illusions, absolute torture. You are going to experience absolute torture if you try to run that feeling of home through these 7 belief systems. So these are the 7 gates that Sophia has to go through to merge with the Christ within. Okay, so I have given you guys a little worksheet. Now, the worksheet in the Decode the Mirror is very different because you guys are already you're already working on starting your day from I remember rather than I need to be convinced this is true. Okay, like if you're at that place where you still need to be convinced that this is true, then this is your worksheet. Decode the Mirror has a completely different worksheet. And this one looks like this. What do I say when I notice that I'm in separation of my money, of my time, of my health, of my home, of my people? What do I say? Left hand programming. Hold every feeling you have in your hand about that. Literally collect it. I want to put all my debt in this hand. I want to put all the conflict in my family in this hand. I want to put all of the I don't know where I'm supposed to be in this hand. I don't know how I'm going to get here in this hand. And I want you to hold it. That's Sophia. And I want you to hold it. And I want you to say, I dissolve separation. I dissolve limitation. Okay? I surrender control to my source. I dissolve the unworthiness curse because it's a curse. It's not real. Okay? I walk in faith, not fear. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And you're literally talking to what's in your left hand here. Okay? I am the eternal flame. I surrender to God's timing. While you're holding this left hand, acknowledging every program that's running, then you can collapse the wave. Breathe it in. Return to your center. What you're doing is you're bringing Sophia into Christ. And hold it. And hold it. Breathe 3 deep times. Bring that Trinity in. And what's beautiful about this is the dude sitting on your crown, your throne, doesn't need to participate at all or believe it. Because you have the word of God. And eventually, your voice will start to take authority. But instead of seeking more content and looking for answers of how I'm going to get what I want, this is how you get on the train. And while you're on the train, you start to have a panic attack because it looks like you're going in the wrong direction. It looks like that driver's an idiot and he's making mistakes. You do this. You don't run up there like, who gave you your driver's license? Where are you taking us? You don't know. Okay, because the part of you that knows is like, I am ready to put my feet up and get room service because I feel like I have stage 4 cancer. I'm dissolving. And by the time I get there, I'll have a new life. So your action step is this. Okay, there's another process you can do. You can put everything in your left hand that's going wrong. And then in your right hand, feel your heaven on earth. Not what it looks like if you haven't seen it yet, but what does it feel like? It feels like peace. It feels like being out and drinking morning coffee, looking at my land. It feels like birds singing, and I'm just so at peace and I'm in harmony, and there's music playing, and it feels like this. Then you collapse the wave into Christ because you got to get Christ and Sophia together. Otherwise, there's no new Son of God or solar imprint. Does anyone have any questions on this? No dumb questions. Nothing? Crickets? Okay. Does everybody know? Remember, where you are is not who you are. Feel that with me. Where I am is not who I am. And I know that life has kicked your ass, and control is the only way you stayed safe. But that's what it's like to be in prison. And if you try to build heaven on earth out of that prison mindset, you will get a more elaborate hell. Because in 2026, the year of the horse represents two things. It is our greatest psychic healer of the animal world, but it will also take you exactly where you need to go. So it's a win-win. Okay? It's coming, it's coming. But you right now are facing your 4 horsemen. Okay? Let's see. We got a couple questions here. Thank you. I feel like this was similar to what we did with remote viewing in our heritage. Yes. Again, there's just different ways of saying the same thing. It's like, if I was contradicting myself, I hope you guys would be worried, but I'm not. What I am trying to do, or what I am doing, is I am, from my own end, I am saying, like, I'm here, so how do I give you directions? Because even though you will be at a different end point of your particular puzzle that will fit beautifully into everyone else's, like Kelly and I were talking this morning about how her vision and my vision like fit perfectly. Like she sees herself, like she remembers the property too. Like she's having like these strange like remembrances of and downloads. And so I'm like, there's just certain things that when you start to let go, see, even if every night before you close your eyes, you said, I intend to remember. Look at that word. Put myself back together. You created the end before you came. There is nothing to build. There is nothing to get. There is no one to convince. And so I want you to study these 7 illusions because they are using up all of your energy throughout the day trying to figure out through these illusions what you should be doing. Let me show you how that looks. If I have the veil of separation, most of my day is going to be trying to figure out how to live and have what I need and do what I want from separation. Like if I feel separate from money, but my higher feeling is that I want to go shopping, I'm going to try to figure out how to do that through separation, which is not fun. And what it does is it reminds you that you are limited. Instead of going, wow, I'm having the contraction right now that I can't do what I want, I'm going to go do my intentional remembering work that my ego is going to say, this is a waste of time. But if you do this, you guys, let's say you're in a caterpillar right now because you've just been like, in a state of survival, in a state of fear, or in a state of just absolute grief because it's so close you can taste it. Okay? And so it's forcing that old reality to just bind you. If you do this for 7 days, 3 times a day, or anytime you feel triggered, you will get thrown into your chrysalis. And I'll come visit you in the hospital. No, I'm just kidding. I will be right there because I talked to someone yesterday and she was literally like, I can't do anything. I can't even watch your class. And I was like, hallelujah, you have entered the chrysalis. Thank you for just go sit under. She's like, all I want to do is move my plants around. Good. Do that. Pretend you got stage 4 cancer. It'll help you be a better mom. Because you're like, I got stage 4 cancer. How good of a mom can I be right now? How good of a wife can I be? Let me transcend, and then you're going to see Sophia Christ. Okay? Because again, if Christ can get into Sophia, which means Sophia can let go of the guilt and let go of the shame and let go of the need to know, then the Christ can come in and heal the sick, okay? And cleanse the leper and feed the poor. But remember, divine feminine, I can do it myself. Is that masculine? I want to drive. I want to know where we're going. I need to know the outcome. I need to know everything before I do it. And that's because she's been like a caged animal for thousands of years where her own existence wasn't safe. And so I get it. I'm in a feminine body. I feel all of it. But you only have to let go to the Christ within. You don't have to let go of any of your dreams. Matter of fact, you need to get them stronger because the signal will be stronger. But feel this with me for a minute. I don't have desires, I have memories. Feel that with me. Isn't that relief? I don't have desires, I have memories. That means it's already mine. And what you seek is seeking you. So it is remembering you when you remember it. And there is an exact course that you laid out, but you didn't want this to just not, you wanted this to be epic. There's plot twists, there's highs and lows, there's sickness, there's poverty consciousness mixed in here, there's family conflict. I mean, that's what makes a good movie. And so all of it is intentional because it will be part of your gospel. You wanted something to celebrate. You wanted something to overcome. You wanted something so that when you remembered the compassion and love you had for this current experience you're in right now would feel amazing, and you would not want to change anything. Imagine not wanting to change anything because every single act that happened that triggered guilt, that triggered shame, that triggered fear, was just making your story more epic. But your end was never going to change. And remember, my I am is just as big as I am not. So as much as you feel like I am not is how big your I am is. Okay? So those of you guys in the Decode the Mirror class that are like, you're channeling your inheritance looking at you. Okay? That's the end looking back at itself. Okay? And in that class, we're going to go through a whole bunch of remembrance, like little guided meditations. Because do you know what the feeling state is that's going to get you there fastest? Relief. Not excitement. Relief. So if you can go, I just need to feel relief that I'm here to remember, not create. How are you supposed to create when you don't even know exactly what you want right now? And the only reason you don't know exactly what you want is because of these 7 illusions. Once you actually start to override, these are not to be cleared through childhood bullshit like counseling. We're not there. We're in the override authority space now. Okay, this game is done. You don't need to go and sit in counseling for what the game did to you. You need to turn that lead into gold. Turn that grief into grace. Turn that shame into confidence. Turn that guilt into forgiveness. That's the alchemy. And your job every day, your only action, and this is good news for those of you in the chrysalis, is to sit with your hands and reconnect your Christ Sophia energy every time one of these illusions pops up. Because what you are telling physical reality and the game itself is that I remember who I am. There's no work to do here. My flame is sovereign. I'm just closing the gap. And every time you tell your nervous system, I remember rather than I have to create, your nervous system will soften because it feels like relief. Does anyone not understand that? It's okay if you don't, because we got time. We're not even at an hour yet. Does anybody want to ask any questions about this? Because it's like, this is the only thing I'm going to be able to say differently until we're done. Until all of you have arrived, I'm going to be saying the same thing, but I'm going to try to find different metaphors each week, but it will be the same thing. And I think all you have to do is love yourself enough to give yourself a frickin' break and say, what would it feel like if this was just a memory rather than a desire? And notice how your body softens. Remember, your body is the kingdom here. And if you're all tight, it's because there is a horrible ruler in there. That's why first seek the kingdom is that you are remembering the kingdom rather than creating it. When you begin to remember, even when you don't remember, you just set the intention. Every night you tell your super consciousness, your subconscious, I declare that I will wake up remembering more. You are under amnesia. Okay. And I love those movies that are like the overboard movies where they have like amnesia and then they get put in like these like poor environments, but they have this rich consciousness. Every single one of you guys in a mediocre life with rich consciousness all feels like, whose life is this? Watch that movie and laugh. And the reason why is because those movies will show you that the character who is under amnesia has not forgotten their wealthy consciousness, even though they've forgotten their stuff. And it is that consciousness that helps them remember, which means that what I want you to do is I want you to play a game called the remembering game. And I want you to go out in your world and see what sparks memory, not desire. Because in that movie, it was like toward the end, certain things were happening, like a car would have, like, hey, I have that car. Instead of, I want that car. Wait, I live in a house like that. And then what happens is the amnesia starts to wear off. Okay? Because you are not here to build a bridge already done. It's like the ego thinks that it has to build the future, okay? And then build the train track, and then build the train and drive, okay? And figure out how to get the money for all of this. That's what your ego thinks. And that's why it's like, let me just try to create heaven in this hell. That's what the ego will settle for. And coming in January, the horse is going to show up. And it's either going to be a medic or it's going to be your ride. So if you haven't let go and gone into your chrysalis yet, the horse is going to show up and be like, okay, sickie, let's go. That body is a hologram. Stop being a control freak. Let go so you can breathe. Okay. And you don't need to examine anything. But what this is going to do is that one of the only joys Sophia has had here is her insatiable curiosity to know. Okay? That's what slowed me down. I gotta know everything. And needing to know slows you down because if you go out into the world to know, you understand that this is such a simple process that most, I would say 99% of all of spirituality is actually counterfeit to keep you away from the ease of this. The teachers that are charging thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to work with them because they're the only one that can get you there. Mm-mm. The kingdom is within. Even saying that out loud is a remembrance. First seek the kingdom. Matter of fact, first seek my kingdom, which means it's already done. And the reason why the Bible says it like that is because first seek the kingdom is a feeling state. Then you build your day off of that feeling state. Okay? So if you were on a train and it was going to take some time and you were going to be in tight quarters and you weren't going to be able to eat everything you wanted to eat and go wherever you wanted to do and do whatever you wanted to do, what would you do with your time? Right? You practice, prepare, play. If you're in the chrysalis, all you're going to be able to do is imagine. You can't even really move. Do not judge yourself if you cannot work out. Do not judge yourself if you cannot eat perfectly. You are literally just in a constant state of surrendering and remembering that there is a destination that is so much better. But see, those days where your ego really feels like it's in control, it's slowing you down. Like when you think you've got it all figured out and you've mapped out the numbers and you got the plan, that might not be your yeah, that's you trying to drive. And every single time that happened for me, it was like gut check. Nope, here you go. Here's another huge contraction. You better just sit down. So to me, this process, okay, of actually facing the fear in our hand and facing the separation, not ignoring it, not bypassing it. I'm saying I am putting all of my feelings in separation that I have with my partner or money right in my hand so I can see it. I'm taking it out of my body and I'm putting it into my left hand so I can see it. I'm aware of it. I accept it. It's here. It's a byproduct of a life in prison. Okay? It's right here. Now I can dissolve it because now it isn't all the way shadow. And I can dissolve it with the love that I have inside of me, that small observer within that remembers, even if it's just one little part. And if this brings on grief, good. There's a baptism that is going to purify this because the road is basically like fire and water traveling together. That is actually what it looks like. Like the water, the grief, the letting go, the joy, the tears of joy are going to carry you. Okay? And the fire, the flame, the internal one that's never given up, that still gets up and tries and efforts. Okay? Again, that's the Sophia that feels guilty and through separation punishes herself. Okay? Every time you are trying to build your kingdom, that is self-punishment, not grace. And if this is like, whoa, out of your comfort zone right now, that just tells us that you are literally in the caterpillar stage. Because remember, the caterpillar doesn't believe in the butterfly. It doesn't live the same reality. Its entire life is basically hide, forage, consume, and find others that misery loves company with. And what you're going to notice as you're going through your chrysalis, you're probably going to be completely surrounded by caterpillars in your own home. And I would recommend that you keep this a kingdom process and don't share more than you need to. Because a caterpillar can never understand what it feels like to go through this transition until they start doing it. And you probably can understand what I'm saying because until you started doing this, you had no idea what it was going to feel like. It's like, even though I posted that Imagineal thing like 5 years ago, I'm like, oh, that's exactly. And then I started feeling it. I was like, oh, it's a lot different to feel it than to read the words. Because when I mean that if you feel like a caterpillar right now, it's because you are one. If you feel not completely a caterpillar, but not a but, you're in the middle. If you have started to kind of get your wings, but you feel literally like this newborn, like, I don't know exactly what to do yet, like a baby bird, like, I don't know how to do this. And you have started to see the end in the horizon, and you have started to get the glimpses and the winks from the universe telling you, right? Then you're still not going to know how to do that. It's almost like in this now moment, you are only supposed to be exactly who you are. And your only job is to not judge any of it. And don't judge anyone else. Because if they want to stay a caterpillar, they might be waiting for you to fly before they even feel it's possible. So don't try to push them. But there is something that strange as happens. As soon as you start to decide, your entire journey, although it's treacherous, becomes inspiring and influential. When you stop judging yourself, you will stop judging others. But if you're judging, then you're in that control illusion. Okay? That's where judgment's going to, that's where holding on to resentment is going to be, in your control illusion. Okay? Also, if you are judging someone else, you are carrying an unworthiness signature. If you are playing the envy game or comparison game, you are carrying the scarcity and unworthiness wound. Every negative emotion you feel through the day is going to fall into one of those 7 illusions. That's why I wanted you to see it. Because, see, when you can see it, now it's not a complete shadow, but this is what every human life, every ego consciousness lives, breathes, operates, builds, spins, makes, earns through these 7 illusions. Every dime you've made in the matrix came from one of these. And that's why what is not for you has to go. But whatever you've lost will be over there. Okay? You have to understand that most of religion is demonic. Even the tithing thing. Okay? Like, you're not tithing, that's why you're not abundant. Okay, demiurge. That's satanic. Okay? What that means is that you are giving to you. Okay? If you don't feed your own kingdom, you won't ever even meet your own Sophia in Christ. But everybody else will. The ones who you're in debt with, they know you're Sophia. The ones you got beef with, they know you're Sophia. The ones you've healed and know and have given effortless, they know the Christ within you. But do they know each other? Okay, I'm going to open it up for one last question or comment. You know, if anybody wants to share where they are, feeling stuck, whatever, we're going to keep the map very simple because, again, the broken energy of Sophia, the one who's like tortured within, is not going to believe it's this simple. Because for thousands of years, her energy has literally been tortured here. That's why we don't want to feel. That's why we want to think our way there. Okay? Anybody? Okay, so she says, how do you turn the negativity into positivity? You don't. You don't. Okay? How do you turn? Okay. I never said in this entire class to turn negativity into positivity. I said, how does it feel to know that everything you want is actually coming from a memory? This is not love and light bullshit here. This is, you are not here to create your reality. You are here to remember. And I said, that will feel like relief. So think about it, Natalie. Every single thing that you want in your heart right now that you feel is so far away is actually yours. And the feeling that you're getting, your ego is perceiving it as longing and desire, but your soul says you're remembering yourself. Remember, okay? So the ego says it hurts. It feels so far away because the ego lives in separation. The ego lives in unworthiness. The ego lives in scarcity. So even if your home was right there and you were living from your ego consciousness, you would not believe that was yours because you have these 7 veils to pass. This is not love and light. There is no ascension. You're anchoring. And the more still you are, okay, the more you can still these waters, the more you will feel her and him. And then you will find that resonant chord, and like a tuning fork, all you got to do is be drawn to it. But you will not feel your future self calling you home through memories if your waters are all this. If you're constantly seeking and you're constantly online and you're looking for evidence, blah, 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 blah. So what I would recommend is that you do this left hand work, you do this right hand work, you collapse the weight, you sit in stillness, and you feel the wish fulfilled. It's done. Then go out and play. Let me play the remembering game. What can I see today that helps me remember? What can I feel today that helps me remember? Okay? And then you go to the next step, which is, I feel horrible today. Contraction. Then you can look at that as evidence that you are in labor. So every time something negative happens, it's a contraction to close the gap. It is not an indicator you are doing it wrong. It is an indicator that you are doing it right. Okay? So this is not about fake positivity. This is about a roadmap. And like I said, if you're driving across country with 2 angry toddlers, it would not be fake positivity. You would literally be following the GPS and making the best of the journey. But every stop, every illusion, every illusion you have running, which is these 7 things, is going to make you believe that it's not yours. Okay? Every voice in your head that says this is not yours is a lie. And you know what the feeling of your wish fulfilled feels like. So you can't fake this. I even said no spiritual bypassing. Put all the ick in the left hand so you can love it. No, you said early, turn grief into anger. I said it will happen on its own. You are not here to do that. This process is alchemy. You can't turn anger in, you can't turn it into that. It will do that on its own. I said how it's going to work is as you're doing this, your grief will turn into grace because you understand that and the more you let go, the more space you create. Okay? This is not about making anger into something that it's not. It's about feeling all of it and then saying, I remember. Like, go back and watch the class again because you're hearing from these seven illusions. You're not hearing me from your heart, or this would have made sense. So as many times as you need to hear this class, you're not going to hear what I said from these seven illusions. And this is why it takes us so long, because you're listening from the ears of your programming, not your soul, not your heart. So what I recommend is that you get still, quiet your mind, feel your own heartbeat, okay? And educate yourself on this Christ Sophia energy so that you can understand how beautiful this is. Because this is what would be called the wedding chamber part of our journey, which is the reconciliation of our divine masculine and feminine coming in as one. Now, Decode the Mirror, you guys are going to study the wedding chamber energy, but you guys are in an open channel class. Like, if you just listen to this class 4 times and just do exactly what I said, then I didn't say you're going to turn this into it. I said this is the alchemy process that will happen organically. There is nothing you can force here. All you have to do is love home so much that you listen to that more than you listen to anything else. Because we've all been homesick for a place we can't understand. And it's always been right here. And where Sophia consciousness resides until the Kundalini energy rises is she is stuck in the root, suffering. And that's where all it goes. And then what it does is it bottlenecks you and pressurizes you. So instead of feeling down here, you think up here. You cannot think through what I'm saying. You have to feel it. And the more masculine your energy is, okay, it needs to be proven and it needs to be structured and I need to control it and it needs to be logical, the further away you are from your Sophia energy, which is, I see how I feel rather than how it looks. So there is a softening that needs to happen. Go back and listen to it again because I did not say you are going to force this into this. I'm going to say it's going to happen. Organically, the grief turns into grace. Your anger is ammunition. It's like, I'm feeling like this is wrong. Good. Let go. Natalie, study this. All you have to do is repeat this, even if you don't believe it, over and over and over and over again, because the voice of God within you will begin to override the program, even if you don't believe it. Okay? All right. Anyone else? You guys have to understand that what I am saying is I'm speaking from the heart, not the mind. This isn't something you can logic. It is a journey that is felt. And the more you have been hurt in your life, the less you're going to want to feel. That's why you're going to stay a caterpillar, and that's why you cannot understand butterfly conversations. Okay? So if you are still in that caterpillar stronghold, all you're going to do is get heavier and heavier and heavier. And I don't mean weight, but I mean density is going to cripple you. And next year, the horse will show up. And the horse is going to take you wherever 3-Eye Atlas is going to place you. So either you're going to go through a very intense healing journey next year, or you're going to be taken to the doorstep. It depends on what you're resisting and how much secret guilt you have and how much secret shame you're carrying. Because if you understand the Sophia story, she feels responsible for all of the destruction that happened, and therefore the part of you, the spark in you, feels responsible for all of the destruction in your own life. We are all playing the Sophia story, and we are all playing the Christ. every part. Okay? So no fake positivity, right? And you've got to listen from your heart, not your head. There is no more logic. This is why I'm the best teacher for this, because this is my happy place. Okay? This is where I shine, is in the non-logic. This makes total sense to me. Even when it didn't make sense, it made sense. Okay? And when you begin to know that when I start to feel, I can heal, but I also have the solution. It's not like you're going to just become this goo forever. But based on those two questions, Natalie, you are in the caterpillar energy and you are trying to figure out how to let go of that, but you can't do that through the logic. So it's okay. Your life will give you experiences. When your soul is ready for you to go into the chrysalis, you will manifest something or someone to throw you into the goo. Because we're all going at some point. And you keep showing up every week. So I know you're not going digital, but I think that you're also wanting the exact route and it's not logical. And so if that's the caterpillar stronghold that you're in, then take this, and you do not have to believe a word of it. And you do not even have to like me. Just say it out loud all day long, and there will be movement because your voice creates reality. And it will put you on the timeline of this process. Okay? And we're going to have Jedi until the middle of January, and we'll probably keep going with the channel class. Okay? Because why not? There's a whole other story once resurrection happens. So it's like the journey, and then the whole other channeling of the arrival. Like, how much fun is that going to be? So I'm looking forward to it. But Jedi is going to be wrapping, because it's like our gospel is the good news. And right now, you could feel the good news. The kingdom has come. And whatever stage you're in is perfect. But no one can do this for you. And if someone is doing this for you, you are actually not like all the way doing it. I don't mean you will have helpers. You will have flashlights in the dark show up. Trust me. When you cannot get out of bed, there will be someone that will show up and help you. I promise. Because your soul knows you have to go through this chrysalis process. And even though it looks like no help is coming, something will show up for you if you surrender. But if you believe no one's going to help me, then no one will. But if you go, well, this chrysalis part is part of it, so I'm going to surrender and see who shows up. Now it's like you're a child. What miracle is going to help me while I'm in bed today because I can't move? Wow, that was cool. Even if it's just daily bread. Sometimes it's just daily bread. Okay? Because the daily bread is there to keep you in the chrysalis, not to make you so comfortable that you get out. It's all part of it. Okay? All right, guys, I love you and enjoy this. Those of you who are in the decode portion, your list looks different. Okay? Your daily activations look different than this. This is more for the caterpillar going into the chrysalis. If you guys are in the chrysalis going into the butterfly, your intentions are different. Okay? But we want to create the right steps. Okay? Okay, guys, love you. And those of you who are in the decode, I put an amazing video that you can watch that's just going to like make your heart just explode based on what I just shared. Like, it's just going to be confirmation. So go enjoy that class after that I put in, or not a class, it's a video that I put in, and it's going to be confirmation, 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 and you are going to have the best day. Okay? All right. Love you guys. Bye.